What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the SC3 podcast, coming at you as I like to do every often as I can. This podcast is named for a Indian who could throw a football, and his middle school teacher was mesmerized by it. I'm your host, Ravon, and as always, please hit the subscribe button down below. Follow me on X, i.e. Twitter, and Instagram. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit more of an expansive show because you see, a couple weeks ago, I was on the Rich Eisen show, one of my favorite shows to call in. And the topic I brought up was the top 5 Rich Eisen show rants in the history of the show. And it's been on for so long. Heck, even going back to my high school years. Now it's one of the more popular listen to and watch shows. You can see it on the Roku channel, 12 to the Eastern every day, for free, I might add. And every time you watch it, you learn something new. You get a good taste on it. Headlined by the show host himself, Rich Eisen, TJ Jefferson of the Dallas Cowboy fan base, Chris Brockman of the New England Patriots fan base. Rich, by the way, is a New York Jets fan, so don't tell him it's hilarious, okay? So I had the opportunity to call in and reveal my top 5 Rich Eisen show rants. And the crew was howling, as they should have, because it was hilarious. But then in the comments down below, I received a lot of talk about, oh, you should have played this rant. You should have talked about this one in your top 5. And you know what? I agreed. It was a little bit rushed. I ain't gonna lie. Having said all of that, I think it's time I played the top 10. And this time I've rearranged it just a little bit. The goal is each time I mention a rant, you will see it in the section below. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Each one will have the link to the official rant when it was first aired on the show. That way you know exactly which rant is on there. And folks, I gotta tell you, there's a whole lot of good ones. So without further ado, let me get to the first one. Number 10 on the list. By the way, I'm not going to reveal that journal to anybody because it would be an act of plagiarism if someone tried to copy that idea. I'm trying to keep it as original as possible. So number 10 on the list stems from June 5th, 2020. Rich Eisen is talking about his first day at ESPN because he was fresh out of the Medill School of Journalism in Northwestern University. When he gets to ESPN that day, Colorado is playing Michigan. No, it's not Deion Sanders, Colorado. It's Cordell Stewart in Colorado taking on the Michigan Wolverines. And it was the day that Cordell Stewart tossed the Hail Mary to Michael Westbrook, and Colorado stunned Michigan in the Big House. Rich collapsed. But when that aired on ESPN as a form of entertainment during COVID, Rich, he had some thoughts because his co-workers, Chris Brockman, who he vehemently insulted, I might add, don't know why. Oh, wait, I do. It's Jets fan going after a Patriots fan. Chris told Rich, don't turn on ESPN, whatever you do, as a sign of precaution. Then he said we're 90 minutes away from the good part, which probably meant the end of the game. And then Rich texts Chris Fowler, the voice of college football. Michigan has the ball. Chris Fowler responds with, what are the chances? Rich just loses his mind. Boy, was that the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. And frankly, I laughed so hard. I never thought I'd laugh that hard in my life. And I figured I'd just play it for you all. Roll tape.
That day of Michigan hosting Colorado. And I say to my son, who's just dying for anything to watch sports, live TV, any game, I say to him, yeah, we're not watching this. Why not, Dad? It's Michigan football. Doesn't end well, Coop. Does not end well. Then I look down on my phone and I see Mr. Peach golf shirt over there texting an entire text chain of the entire Rich Eisen show staff saying, don't turn on ESPN, Rich, no matter what you do. And then has the audacity to say, we're 90 minutes from the good part.
Oh, man.
Good part.
Yep.
I texted you. It was like early third quarter. ESPN allowed a 4-hour window to reshow this game. You know, it was like 7:15. I figured 90 minutes for the good stuff.
So I tweet out, I'd like to be on the record that I wholeheartedly object to ESPN's choice of classic programming right now.
Yeah, you were.
I got a whole bunch of great tweets in response. I screen grabbed one, which I asked my executive producer, Don Bowie, to put up here. Because, you know, a lot of people like having fun at my expense.
That's true.
And so, you know, I reach out to Chris Fowler, as a matter of fact, who was hosting this. I texted Michigan currently has a 12-point lead on Colorado with 5 minutes left and the ball. Forgot that was on, even though he interviewed Tyrone Wheatley and Cordell Stewart separately.
That's right.
For it. The lead seems safe. I wouldn't worry about it. What are the chances? What school he went to?
Colorado. What a response by Fowler.
Thought it was on. He zoomed with Tyrone Wheatley. And Cordell.
Had a great game, Ty Wheatley.
Oh, man.
So did Ty Law, by the way. Looking at it, some people, Rashawn Salam won the Heisman Trophy later
Oh,
that
man.
year. Seeing Rick Neuheisel look like he was 12. The offensive coordinator for Colorado, and I forgot. Cordell Stewart fumbled the ball going into the end zone down.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did watch that game.
That was when they placed the ball on the 35-yard line when he fumbled into the end zone. The 35 with 5 minutes to go. That's when I turned it off. Couldn't watch it. Wouldn't watch it. Can't watch it. Won't watch it, to use the Mike Singletary phrase of the day. And here's, you know what?
I can't even listen anymore, but that's just hilarious. And that was stunning. You know that show, Everybody Hates Chris? That's this time. Headline, Rich Hates Chris. That's number 10. But, oh my goodness. It's hilarious for the simple fact that Chris Fowler, the voice of college football, pulled that out there and trolled Rich with it. Oh, that was so beautiful. So that's number 10. He went on a full rant about that. But number 9 is a little bit different. Number 9 was actually number 5 on the list. Initially it was number 5, but I had to move it down because there's a lot more rants that are warranted to go up. And frankly, the Jets rants that Rich has done in the past have garnered more attention than the other ones. So we'll keep it like that. Number 9 is from February 10th, 2015. A letter was sent to James Dolan, the owner of the New York Knicks. Mr. Irving Bierman was his name. And Dolan responded rather interestingly, and I don't feel personally, I'm not interested in playing the what Dolan said. I'm more interested in showing what Rich said. So let's roll tape. By the way, this is back when Rich did not have facial hair. This was before, I think it was right after Super Bowl 49. I think so. I'm not sure. Roll tape. There's volume here. Anyway, roll tape.
Imagine an NFL owner writing this. What a major media conflagration this would cause. Can you imagine if Jerry Jones wrote that? Bob Kraft wrote that? They never would. Well, could you imagine if any NFL owner did that? Which is, again, another point I'm trying to make here is the NFL's held to a totally different standard in our sports universe. This would be major, huge poop storm.
Absolutely. Because the fact that James Dolan was doing and continues to get in the way and meddle the way he's done, it is hilarious. It is drop dead unbelievable. Like, I don't know what I could say, because there is so much to go in from that. Like, you can't, you just cannot, you can't believe it. You just cannot believe what just happened. Because what owner would write such a letter? Frankly, what owner would do that? But hey, it is what it is. That's number 9. Number 8, May 18th, 2022. That's right. A lot of these rants, even from that journal, there's a lot of old school rants that are not going to be up there. The new school ones tend to be better. This was when Rich found out his Uber star rating. That was the honorable mention, but he goes in at number 8 on this list. So, Rich found out he had an alarming number of 1-star Uber ratings and proceeded to blame Susie for it, but I'm not comfortable showing him blaming Susie. What I am happy to play for y'all is the audio of what happened when that number was revealed. This is number 8.
That's it. Yeah, how you use Uber. Would you like to see?
How do you use Uber?
Okay.
Explore your data.
Ratings. View my ratings.
Yes. View my rating.
Oh, this is fantastic. 1 star.
That's it.
I've never taken Uber these many times either.
You've never taken it that many times. Then how do you have 16 1-stars? How do you have 16 1-star Uber ratings? By the way, I love Rich. But even I don't have that. Woo! I'll be professional in this. Not. That was hilarious. But to his reaction and the rant that followed, priceless, 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 priceless. Sometimes you just have to play those. That's number 8. Number 7 is a little bit interesting because it's one of the many jet rants you're going to see here. And this one was again directed at Chris Brockman because, pardon the voice here, it was after the the first time that Zach Wilson and Mac Jones went head-to-head. This was September 20th, 2021, when this rant came out. Zach Wilson had just thrown 4 interceptions against Mac Jones in their first career matchup against each other. And this was the time that there were 2 new rookies coming in because the Tom Brady era was over. Cam Newton was gone. It's Mac versus Zach. And Rich was a little bit over-aggressive towards Chris. Now, why am I defending Chris? Because he keeps getting the brunt of these rants too many times. Rich just keeps going at him for no reason. I don't get it. I don't. He goes at TJ Jefferson. He goes at Chris. Why? Number 7, folks. Roll tape.
It's us now. Me and you.
Hey, Rich.
Me and you.
Hey, buddy.
Damn you. And everything that you stand for. Hold on a second.
That seems like
Damn
kind
you.
of harsh.
No. I don't mean, I'm not damning you to a certain spot.
Okay, thanks.
Damn you to hell. But at some point, what you have been feeling and sensing, despite last year's what appears to be hiccup, at some point it's going to happen to the New York Jets. And
Wow. First of all, that's crazy because that's number 7 on the list. And that was kind of much. But what did you expect? What could you possibly expect? I mean, seriously. The Jets have just not beaten the Patriots. Too bad. It is what it is. It's drop dead hilarious, though. I ain't gonna lie. Number 6 is a little bit interesting. Actually, when I rearranged my top 5, this was initially number 2 on the list. But now it drops out of the top 5 because, personally speaking, I wanted to initially put this in the top 5, but I think I'm going to have to move it down because there's so many other Jets rants that can go with it. This is from September 12th, 2023. This was the night that after Aaron Rodgers had suffered a torn Achilles, and Rich just went completely berserk. You thought Mike Greenberg on ESPN's Get Up, which i.e. is the Jets therapy couch on television, you think that was crazy. Rich had a crazy reaction. He brought up a movie to get an axe in the chest, Scatman Crothers. Whatever that movie's name is, you're going to find it on your own. All I can say is 4 snaps. That's all you were allowed, Jets fans. Roll tape.
getting into a snowcat, going all the way up the mountain in the middle of a snowstorm just to get to the whole Overlook Hotel in time to get an axe in the chest. 4 snaps in, axe in the chest. All work and no play makes the football gods clearly dull and bored. They can't stop kicking the Jets in the nards. 4 snaps. And then a crazy thing happened as Zach Wilson came out after all of this. And I thought to myself,
I'm not going any further. Because what many of us hoped for was Josh Allen to win that game, throw a fake spike, knock the Jets completely out of the misery. Oh, that would have been hilarious. But That's number 6. Now we get to the good stuff, the top 5. This was number 4 on the list, and when I first went on the show, now it's going to 5 because can I get real with all of you? Jets rants are what you look forward to. It's not the Yankees, it's not the Knicks, it's not Dolan, it's Jets rants. And there's so many Jets rants to pick from. But this one about the Yankees, where he went at TJ Jefferson. TJ casually mentioned Luis Gonzalez, April 20th, 2021. Like, this was, I did not believe Rich said this because he was talking about Susie getting a baseball from an unnamed Yankee. This pissed off Rich so much. And frankly, it was good. It was good television. Because that's all you needed. That is really all you needed, folks. Because, oh boy, this had me laughing on the floor. So, what happened? Roll tape. Number 5.
Steinbrenner was there in his white dickie. Giuliani was strolling around. Everyone was strolling around in there. It was like a morgue. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I had to sit there and take stock about how lucky I was as a Yankee fan to have seen the Jeter era up to that point.
That would have been 4 in a row.
And as if I needed another just cherry on top kick in the groin, a Yankee who shall go unnamed right here, put his phone number on a baseball and handed it to Susie in front of me. What? That happened in front of you.
We're going to have to throw
Wow.
hands here.
I was like, what the hell is happening? Everyone was waiting in the inning half an hour later. And then all of a sudden,
Does Susie still have that ball?
Mr. Footlocker's like, hey, you guys remember Luis Gonzalez?
You didn't know that, man. What's the problem?
Yo, girl, does she still have that baseball? Wow.
I hope so.
I don't know.
That'd be it.
I think she might.
But here's the good part.
Say, we're nominated for an Emmy. You people.
Yeah, the day he was nominated for an Emmy. Do we really care? Well, actually, we do. But really, the Yankees. By the way, they're not in the postseason this year. That's the good part. Oh boy. Now we go to number 4. Again, these are Jets rants galore. Number 4 was one that I found to be very interesting for the simple fact that it wasn't mentioned in the previous time when I first went on the show and talked about it. I didn't mention this rant, and I really wish I did. I really wish I did. Like, this is just unbelievable. Because like when Greg Williams was the defensive coordinator for the Jets. This was October 2nd, 2020. The Jets were playing the Denver Broncos. Brett Rippon was starting for Denver, number 4 out of Boise State. I don't know what Greg Williams has a fetish for going after quarterbacks that wear number 4 and are named Brett. I mean, heck, what's it with New York Jets fetishes? Rex with the toes, Greg with the Bretts. Come on. So Rich talks about that. He actually picked the Jets to win that game. Oh boy, was that a big mistake, y'all. But the Jets were going completely rogue that night, and Rich, oh, he had enough. Roll tape.
Of what I've seen about football. I've seen and talked a lot about football, essentially what I'm saying. I have never seen a walk-off personal foul penalty, but the Jets were able to shoehorn in a sixth such dumbass penalty to the point where we didn't have to worry about social distancing and
Yeah. Handshakes and whatever. Yeah, that's what you were. Unbelievable, man. You picked the Jets? Really? He had more to say. Here it is.
let's get the hell out of here. That's how the Jets lost last night. And I thought they would win. What a dope. What a moron.
Hell yeah. That's what it was, man. You really thought the Jets were going to beat the Broncos? Like, nah. Matter of fact, they're about to play each other soon in this season. And I kind of hope Denver wins that one. You know, send the Jets a little message. But we all know it's probably not going to happen because Zach Wilson played pretty darn well, even though Russell Wilson made a crazy comeback against the Bears. Jets probably going to win that one. And good for them. But boy, they provide some great commentary. That's number 4. Number 3 is still number 3, y'all. Sam Darnold coming down with mononucleosis. Say what? The fact. Expedia. Yeah, Expedia. I'm always going on my phone. When you hear the word mononucleosis, Sam Darnold first comes to mind, y'all. And this is unbelievable. But anywho, you want to know what really is funny about it? It's the fact that he had a conspiracy theory of how Sam got mono. That's the funny part. What's not funny is who he talks about. The late Demaryius Thomas, God rest his soul. Looking back on it now, probably would have changed the wording a bit. Rich would have, but at the time, whatever it is, it was what it is. Roll tape for number 3.
Theory. Yeah. Hold on, let me get the Twitter account ready.
It's the theories it gets. I want to ever made a trade with since coming from New England.
Well,
Prior a second. That's the one team, Bill Belichick, since going to New England after leaving New York as the HC of the NYJ for 24 hours. Give me the name of the franchise he never made a trade with.
Prior to this week, the New York Jets.
And what did he do a couple days ago with the New York Jets?
He traded Demaryius Thomas to the Jets for a 6th-round pick in 2021.
I will tell the Jets medical staff, don't test Sam Darnold. Go test Demaryius Thomas. See if he brought it down from New England.
Like Demaryius Thomas is patient X.
See if he brought it down. The Manchurian mono wide receiver. See if he said. See if he brought it down with him. Because why else would Bill Belichick send a receiver to the Jets 2 weeks before they're playing him?
Maybe because he didn't really have a need for him at the time. Ever looked at that possibility? Clearly didn't. But folks, I'm telling you, the Jets just provide material. They provide material for you. And honestly, I don't know where to begin. I really, really don't know because it's just funny. Number 2 on the list, October 22nd, 2019 is number 2. Moved up a bit because it's the truth. Considering we're in the month of spookies, what's Halloween known for? Witches, ghouls, goblins. Norman Osborn, I'm looking at you, pal. And ghosts. Seeing ghosts. Who saw ghosts? Wasn't Scooby-Doo. Wasn't even Scrappy. It was Sammy. Sam Darnold saw ghosts against the Patriots. Tom Brady's last year, I might add. Rich had a thought process on seeing ghosts. Roll tape.
Sam Darnold last night had the equivalence of his butt fumble game. That happened, and it took just a season and a third of his Jets career to have that happen to him.
Yeah. Says a lot. It's like unbelievable. The fact that he was seeing ghosts and Rich compared it to the butt fumble. First of all, the seeing ghosts thing, let's be clear, the seeing ghosts really, even though it's one of his best rants, that's not exactly butt fumble light, because the butt fumble was on national television on Thanksgiving night. Not everybody tunes into Monday Night Football. The ratings for Thanksgiving are a little bit bigger than they are for Monday Night Football. Yes, it's Monday nights every week during the season. Thanksgiving only comes once a year. And that was Rex Ryan's Jets, not Sam Darnold's Jets. Rex was still in charge, and he got cold feet after that. Certainly got off on the wrong foot by having that, and then the fumble on the kick return, the Julian Edelman scooped and scored. Joe McKnight, God rest his soul, lost the ball. Julian Edelman took it back. That was the Keystone Cops. That night was far worse than Sam Darnold's ghosts. That's number 2. Number 1 is still number 1, y'all. That's still going to be number 1 regardless of what people say. The 5 words that forever are linked with Rich. December 21st, 2020, y'all, it's always going to be linked with him. What are those 5 words?
Not get me started. Do not get me started.
Yeah, you beat the Rams at the worst possible time. And you lost that on Trevor Lawrence to Zach Wilson, who, by the way, played a great game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's give credit where credit is due. But you lost out on Trevor Lawrence. Funny thing about that is they were in prime position to get him. All they had to do was lose. They couldn't do that. That was just... that was hilarious. But remember, the Jets did, at one point in time, did have a number 1 overall pick at one point. They took Keyshawn Johnson, prompting Chris Berman to say the Jets just won the Super Bowl, even though that clearly was not going to happen. Then he talks about 2 trades the Jets made at one point for 2 Hall of Famers being let go from the Jets. Same rant. Roll tape.
Here to the St. Louis Rams for Orlando Pace for the 6th overall pick, a 3rd, 4th, and a 7th that amounted to nothing. And then they traded out that 6th overall pick to Seattle, who drafted Walter Jones. Both those guys are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Do not get me started. Do not get me started.
Yeah. There you have it. That is the #1 Rich Eisen show rant all time. Because the significance of it was they could have had a young franchise quarterback to build around. They lost it on Trevor Lawrence. You could have had someone else. You could have even had Trevor. But you blew it. In typical gangrene fashion. Unbelievable. Now, I'm not one to brag because these Bears are far worse. But sometimes you do what you got to do. And that's how we do it, things. That's going to wrap up tonight's episode. Thank you guys for listening. As promised, I will post the links to those YouTube videos in the about part of this video, so you'll have an opportunity to see where those rants actually came from. I'll also even post a link to my appearance on the show when I brought up the top 5. As you notice, there's a couple of differences. Some were switched around. And that's all there is to it. But thanks for listening, guys. As always, subscribe down below to the SG3 podcast. I'll try to get more of these episodes out to you as soon as I can. Hopefully bring on some more guests. I'd definitely like to bring some females on here. It's not all about sports, y'all. Anything can be talked about. I know some people don't want to believe that, but that's just the day and age. You have a preconceived notion, you live with it. But thanks for listening. As always, I call it like I see it. Do you?